Hello Vita fans, it's Ant Hazuki here, back with my second in a series of rare Vita games, and today I'll be covering 3 titles, all published by Red Art Games. I'll be letting you know how rare they are, if they are any good, and the likelihood of them becoming sought after in the future. So Red Art Games are a new limited edition publisher based in Europe, and they've released 5 limited edition Vita games so far, with one to come. So they've released Bard's Tale, Demetrius, which was covered in my previous video, The Dear God, which will be released this month, Riddled Corpses EX, Bit Dungeon Plus, and Ice Cream Surfer. The latter 3 I am covering today. So the first game I'm taking a look at is the best of the 3, and it's called Riddled Corpses EX. So this is another release from Cowcat Games, the makers of the super fun point and clicker Demetrius that was covered in my previous video. Now this is in a completely different genre, being a twin stick apocalyptic zombie shooter with a retro 8-bit style, where you literally have to shoot your way through hordes of enemies to the end of each stage, defeating the boss and then rinse and repeating. You collect gold as you go, which you can use to unlock brand new characters, each with their own special abilities, or use the gold to level up instead. Now anyone here that has played a twin stick shooter will be right at home. And whilst the setting is generic, there are an awful lot of zombie twin stick shooters on the market, let alone zombie themed games. This title has tight controls, looks and runs great on the Vita, and is perfect for pick up and play sessions. And to begin with, each of those sessions will be quite short. Be prepared to die a lot. You start off very weak, so you'll have to grind to gradually get better, and whilst this mechanic should annoy me, it doesn't, because each upgrade you see a genuine difference in your character's stats, which means you get through each stage slightly further each run that you do. And because of this mechanic, I found the game to be very addictive. The one more go factor in this is very, very high indeed. There are 3 different modes you can choose from: story, arcade and survival. And whilst it includes online leaderboards, it lacks the local multiplayer option its PS4 equivalent has. And this is a real shame, because it really does shine in co-op, but it's completely understandable considering the amount of effort it would have taken for such an option to be coded. I mean, these days it's hard to find anyone that actually owns a Vita, let alone a copy of a Vita and a copy of the game as well. So Riddled is quite cheap on the PSN digital store, but physically it will set you back around €25 on the Red Art Games website, with a total of 2,000 to 3,000 copies made. And this is an easy recommendation from me. I think it's a hidden gem in the Vita library and could become quite sought after as the years go by and people hear about how solid and fun this game is. So on to Ice Cream Surfer by Dolores Entertainment. Originally a mobile game before making its way onto the Wii U and then the Vita, this horizontal shoot 'em up inspired by Konami's Parodius series sees you choose from a number of wacky characters on surfing ice creams as you try and take down the evil vegetable crew headed by a Hitler-esque broccoli lord. Don't actually know if that's his name, but seems good to me. You control your characters shooting down everything that gets in your way whilst collecting power-ups and ice cream letters that spell the word, funnily enough, ice cream, before taking on an end-of-level boss. If you get hit, you respawn without any power-ups, but you have an infinite amount of lives until you reach the final level, which you then must complete on 1 credit in order to be able to complete the game. All in all, a single run will take you around about an hour to complete, and each completion will net you some neat unlockables. Now, putting aside that this game doesn't even try to compete with the big boys in the shoot 'em up market such as Darius Burst, Soldner X or Cinemora, this game still has a number of issues that prevent it from being as fun as it should be. When you kill enemies, they turn into diamonds which fly towards you. And of course at the same time you have enemies which shoot purple bullets and other projectiles at you, and these easily mix in with the diamonds as well as blend in with the backgrounds, making me die far more than I believe I should. Now I'm no shoot 'em up expert by any means, but I like playing them, and this core issue annoyed me no end. I also found that there's quite a number of unreasonable difficulty spikes in the game as well. However, despite all this, I did enjoy this game overall. Featuring a 16-bit art style and chiptune soundtrack, this game is okay for its current digital price of a few pounds, and I'm pleased to say The physical copy is a very reasonable €15, which is the cheapest brand new Rare game I've ever seen, I think. It is limited to 2,000 copies, and whilst I don't think it will be the most sought after release in the future, it will certainly hold its value and rise in time. The final game I'm covering today is Bit Dungeon Plus, also by Dolores Entertainment, and this game is a dungeon crawling roguelike hack and slasher. Like Ice Cream Surfer, Dolores do not attempt to take on the giants of the genre such as Binding of Isaac or Darkest Dungeon, but has some success at doing a similar thing on a smaller scale. Just a quick note on Darkest Dungeon, that game actually got a physical release on Vita last week, so I'll be doing a video on that in the near future, so yeah, watch this space. Anyway, Bit Dungeon has you exploring through a series of rooms in a randomly generated dungeon, defeating a wide variety of enemies, collecting loot as you go, until you stumble upon the dungeon boss. With a medieval setting and the usual retro 16-bit look that you kind of expect from the genre, actually to be honest it does remind me of Fortnite if I'm being honest, this is an entertaining roguelike worth your time and is a decent Vita port. One area where this port does disappoint slightly is the fact this is a single player only version of the game, whereas other versions such as on the PS4 come with local co-op multiplayer as standard, and that's where Bit Dungeon Plus really shines. You'll still have a lot of fun on your own however, as it definitely has that one more go factor. Available for £5 or £6 or $7 digitally on the PSN store, or physically for €20 and limited to 2,000 copies only, I definitely think this will retain its value in the future, but I think it will struggle to sort of command any sort of real money in what has become a very crowded limited games Vita market. All three games are available from Red Art Games website, and whilst I'm not actually sponsored by Red Art, I've purchased all these games with my own money, I can tell you that my experience from purchasing the games has been very positive, so I can give them a recommendation. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see me cover more Rare games, let me know in the comments below. I always appreciate a like and subscribe whilst you're here. Thank you very much for watching the video, and see you in the next one. Cheers.